Wilson had an apparent heart attack and collapsed on stage at the Latin Casino in Cherry Hill. He was 41 years old, and for the next 8 years until his death.
Jackie Wilson's final tragic moments have finally been revealed. What really happened in the last days of his life? Was there more to his story than we knew? Wilson was a music legend, but his life ended in heartbreak and mystery.
It was a classic story of how money had melted away from a young performing artist and materialized in other people's hands.
People have talked about rumors, including questions about his personal life. Was he gay? Did his fame bring him pain? How did he really die, and what led to his tragic end? Let's explore the untold details of Jackie Wilson's life and death to uncover the truth.
Jackie Wilson had it all, from dance moves, the good looks, the fashion style. He could sing 4 octaves.
Jackie Leroy Wilson Jr. was born on June 9, 1934, in Highland Park, Michigan. He was the 3rd child of Jack Leroy Wilson Sr. and Eliza Mae Wilson. Jackie was the only child who survived, and his parents gave him a lot of love and attention during his childhood. They pampered him, hoping to raise a happy boy. When Jackie was young, he often visited his grandparents in Mississippi. He attended the choir at a local chapel while there. His mother thought this was good for him, but Jackie was not really interested in the sermons. He was there for the music. He loved the sounds and rhythms of the songs, which later became a huge part of his life. Jackie soon joined the church choir with his mother, who was a skilled singer. This was one of the few times Jackie felt truly happy. Singing was his passion.
I could actually hear the way that, well, I felt it was a church type thing. And this took it and threw it away, and I picked it back up.
However, life at home was not always easy. Jackie's father struggled with drinking, which often kept him away from home. When he was there, he frequently faced unemployment. This created a lot of chaos for the family. Eventually, when Jackie was just 9 years old, his father left them. It was a tough time for Jackie and his mother. Jackie's mother found it hard to support him as a single parent. She married another man named John Lee. This man was much better for the family. He had a steady job, which gave Jackie some hope for a better life. But as Jackie grew older, the music he loved began to lead him down a dark path.
Actually, I didn't want to leave. My mother just grabbed me by the hair one day and told me no more.
In his teenage years, Jackie continued to sing in the church choir, but wanted more. He wanted to show his talent to a wider audience. So he joined a singing group called the Ever Ready Gospel Singers. They started to gain a reputation in local churches, and things seemed to be looking up for Jackie. Unfortunately, this was also the time when he was first exposed to alcohol. The money they earned from singing was often spent on drinks. Jackie found the excitement of it all and had his first drink when he was just 10 years old. As time went on, the money was also used for gambling. Jackie began to keep some of the money for himself, leading him further away from the music he loved. Soon after, he became involved with a gang called the Shakers, which was well known in Detroit. This led Jackie to a life of trouble. He began to skip school and hang out with friends who were a bad influence on him.
They was making money. Jackie would get paid from all the churches after singing and then go shoot dice with the money, y'all.
During this time, Jackie faced consequences for his actions. He was sent to a detention center twice to think about what he had done wrong. It was there that he learned how to box, which would later become an important part of his life. When he was just 16 years old, Jackie dropped out of high school and became a Golden Gloves welterweight boxing champion in Detroit. As part of the Shakers, Jackie struggled to know what was right or wrong. He got into fights often, sometimes starting them himself or getting jumped by other groups.
And I turned around and whop. So she finally saw me get beat to bits. So she told me no more.
His love for music faded for a while as he became lost in a world of trouble and violence. Little did he know, this was just the beginning of his incredible journey. Jackie Wilson was on a path that would eventually lead him back to the music he adored, changing his life forever.
And some people make the path and are pioneers. I like to say Jackie Wilson was a wonderful entertainer.
Jackie took a chance and began performing at nightclubs using a fake ID, since he was too young to work there legally. Soon he formed a group called the Falcons with his cousin, Levi Stubbs. Unfortunately, the group didn't last long, but things took a turn when a talent agent discovered Jackie and Levi. They joined a vocal group called the Thrillers, which later changed its name to the Royals. With a new manager, Al Green, Jackie recorded his first hit song called Danny Boy. The song became popular, catching the attention of Billy Ward, who was looking for a new lead singer for the famous R&B group called the Dominoes. Jackie was thrilled to be offered a chance to audition. This was the moment he had been dreaming of, getting closer to his goal of becoming a big star. Jackie Wilson was not just any singer, he was a star waiting to shine. When he stepped in to replace a famous singer named Clyde McPhatter, it was no easy task. McPhatter was a big deal in the music industry, and Dominoes, the group Jackie was joining, had a hard time finding someone who could match his talent. They needed someone who could not only fill McPhatter's shoes, but also bring his own spark to the performances. Jackie knew he had to make an impression. He walked into his interview with confidence, claiming he could do better than McPhatter.
I'll go if I know.
This made everyone at Domino's side up and pay attention, but they were also skeptical. After all, McPhatter was a legend. Just when it looked like Jackie might not get the job, he decided to sing. The moment he opened his mouth, everything changed. His voice was magical, and he blew everyone away with his performance. In that instant, Jackie proved he was not just a talker. He was a true talent. Domino's saw potential in Jackie and hired him on the same day. However, they reminded him that he had a long way to go before he could be compared to McPhatter. This reality check kept Jackie humble. He knew he had to learn from the legend. He studied McPhatter's demeanor, his singing style, and even how he moved on stage. Jackie admired everything about McPhatter and began to imitate him. This was exactly what Domino's wanted, a singer who could capture McPhatter's essence.
Come on, here on the floor.
One important change Domino's wanted was for Jackie to alter his name. His real name was Jack Wilson, but he preferred the nickname Sonny, which had been given to him at birth. Instead of going back to his old name, the group decided to give him a new one, Jackie Wilson. This was part of the deal when he joined the group, and things began to look bright for him. Jackie was the lead singer for about 3 years. During that time, the group had its moments in the spotlight, but it was clear they couldn't fill McPhatter's shoes. When he left, things changed. They lost their magic, and Jackie realized he had to move on to grow as an artist. He started to focus on his solo career. Though he made some progress, it wasn't easy. He knew he needed more opportunities to break through. While working with songwriters, Jackie met Berry Gordy. They had a lot in common, including a love for music and a passion for performing. Gordy had an eye for talent, and they quickly became friends. Before that, Jackie had signed a deal with Brunswick Records, which was going well. Unfortunately, tragedy struck when his partner suddenly passed away. This could have been the end for Jackie, but his friend Nat Terrell stepped in to help him sign a new contract, allowing Jackie to rise to the top at Brunswick. Jackie and Berry Gordy clicked. Their similar backgrounds and love for music made it easy for them to work together. Gordy wrote songs that fit the style of the time, and Jackie's career started to take off. One of the first songs they created together was Reet Petite. It was a hit. Over time, it gained popularity worldwide. Jackie was finally reaching his dreams, and it felt incredible. But success came with challenges. Even though Jackie sold millions of records, he faced struggles that could ruin his life. However, with Berry Gordy, Jackie created 6 more songs, building a strong reputation. His performances were filled with energy, and his powerful voice earned him the nickname Mr. Excitement. He got the nickname for 3 reasons: his dance moves, the passion of his voice, and his sense of style. He was an inspiration to many artists like James Brown and even Michael Jackson.
Van Morrison, James Brown, Elvis Presley, and a bunch of other musicians said he inspired them.
In fact, the once king of entertainment was so moved by Wilson's performance that he demanded a meeting. Jackie Wilson met and befriended the king of rock and roll himself, Elvis Presley. It turned out to be a bit of a mutual appreciation club. Music fans called Wilson the Black Elvis, which Presley countered with a hilarious response. He called himself the White Jackie Wilson. The two had a lot in common, and the #1 thing was controversy. In Elvis's own words, "I heard this guy in Las Vegas, Billy Ward and his Dominoes. There's a guy out there who's doing a takeoff of me. Don't be cruel. He tried so hard till he got much better, boy. Much better than that record of mine."
Look, Elvis Presley called himself the White Jackie Wilson, and Jackie Wilson called himself the Black Elvis Presley.
Wilson's electrifying stage show, like Presley's, involved a lot of gyrations. Many parents of teenage girls thought Wilson's movements were offensive. Wilson, however, didn't stop with just thrusting his hips. He also removed his clothes. He'd start with a jacket and tie, suggesting to the audience that he was a little too hot. By the end of the performance, his sweaty chest would be front and center. Thrusting hips, check. Clothes removed, check. What else could Wilson do to enrage conservative parents? Taking his clothes off was one thing, but what Wilson did with his props was, to some anyway, beyond acceptable. His rather intimate relationship with the microphone was simply described as suggestive. Wilson was also accused of pretending to unzip the fly of his trousers. It was only a matter of time before his show would get a warning, for mature audiences only. But as for the fans, they ate it up, and they were lining up to get on stage with Mr. Excitement. One person wrote, "This is heartbreaking. I saw Jackie several times in the 60s and there was no one like him. Jackie did it all and sang like a bird on top of it." Another one added, "It's horrible that a man that great went out like that. He will always be one of the greatest until the end of time."
I could actually hear the way that, well, I felt it was a church type thing. And this took it and threw it away, and I picked it back up.
During his performance, Wilson would always get the audience involved with the show. It was his routine to pull women from the audience and get them to kiss him. People started to notice Wilson always avoided choosing the most beautiful women from the audience for his nightly smooch. Likely they thought he was doing it out of kindness for those less blessed in the looks department. Sadly, the real reason was much more callous than that. It turned out that Wilson picked what he called the ugly girls out of the audience for a very selfish reason. He wanted to give America the impression that if an ugly girl could kiss him, then any girl could. It was his way of making his image and his records irresistible to his paying audience.
He was one of the first artists to have women throw their panties on stage, and they would try to rip his clothes off.
Well, at a 1960 concert, Wilson was about to take it to the next level. The concert was in New Orleans, and Wilson had whipped the audience into a frenzy with his music and his suggestive dance moves. Some of the concert goers were so taken by the show that they wanted to be part of it and made a chaotic and savage run for the stage. Luckily, law enforcement was on hand to keep this from happening. Jackie Wilson had a wild life full of ups and downs. One crazy night, everything changed for him. Douglas, a witness to the chaos, shared his memories of that night. He said there were police all around the stage while Wilson performed. Larry Williams, a friend of Wilson's, was singing Dizzy Miss Lizzie when things took a dangerous turn. Larry ran to the edge of the stage, trying to connect with the crowd, but he didn't jump off. Instead, he stepped down from the stage, and women came forward to see him. This included white women, which was significant because it showed how popular they were with everyone. But then things got ugly. The police pulled Larry into the crowd and started beating him with their sticks. It was a shocking scene that no one expected. Because of that night, Jackie Wilson faced serious trouble. A judge charged him with assaulting a police officer, which could have ruined his career. However, Wilson had a talent for bouncing back from difficult situations. Instead of letting the trouble bring him down, he kept pushing forward. His music career continued to soar. Even after this incident, Wilson performed on major TV shows like The Ed Sullivan Show and American Bandstand. He also sold out concerts and even acted in a movie. Just like Elvis Presley, his career was on fire, and it seemed nothing could stop him. But Wilson's troubles weren't over. On February 15, 1961, a frightening event took place. Wilson returned to his Manhattan apartment with model Harlan Harris when a crazed fan showed up. This fan wasn't just excited, she was holding a gun. Wilson was terrified, thinking she would hurt him or Harris. What happened next was unexpected. Instead of aiming the gun at Wilson, the woman aimed it at herself. In a brave move, Wilson jumped on her to stop her. Unfortunately, in the struggle, 2 shots went off, and both hit Wilson in the stomach. Emergency responders rushed him to Roosevelt Hospital, where doctors had to act fast. Thankfully, they got him there in time, and the surgery saved his life. However, he suffered serious injuries. He lost 1 kidney and had a bullet lodged in his spine for the rest of his life. Later, Wilson and his friends remembered that night. They had to pull him out of the chaos and get him to the hospital quickly. He was arrested but got out after just a few minutes. The newspapers reported on the riot, saying Wilson faced charges for everything from attempted murder to disturbing the peace. Despite surviving the chaos and serious injuries, There is a hidden truth about that night that is not so great. Many people believe that Wilson was trying to save a fan's life when things went wrong, but the truth is different. The woman involved was not just a crazed fan, she was actually one of Wilson's girlfriends, named Juanita Jones. She became furious when she saw Wilson with another woman. In a fit of anger, she pulled out a gun and shot at him. Instead of being honest about what happened, Wilson's manager, Nat Tarnopol, created a story about an obsessed fan. This was done to protect Wilson's reputation and keep his fans from turning against him.
How does a rock star who makes so much money lose it all? If you're too young to remember American Bandstand in its heyday, you may not know Jackie Wilson.
But that wasn't the only problem in Wilson's life. While Tarnopol was busy spinning stories to cover up scandals, he was also supposed to manage Wilson's money. However, he failed miserably at this too. Jackie Wilson, who earned a lot of money, suddenly found himself broke. In 1961, when most people made about $5,000 a year, Wilson reported an income of over $260,000. So where did all that money go? It turned out that Tarnopol was not just bad at managing Wilson's finances, he also didn't pay Wilson's taxes. Because of this, the IRS came knocking at Wilson's door, demanding about $300,000 in unpaid taxes. Wilson had trusted Tarnopol to handle these important matters, but he found out the hard way that Tarnopol had done nothing. Now Wilson was in big trouble.
You might think that an artist of Jackie Wilson's stature and talent, who sold millions of hit records, could have enjoyed the financial independence and security, but this is a story of how Jackie Wilson died riddled with debts, without even a headstone for his grave.
The IRS began seizing Wilson's belongings to recover the money he owed.
He didn't know how deep in the hole he was getting further and further in the hole to them, and the books were never honest anyway.
They took his house in Detroit, where his wife and children lived. This made things even worse for Wilson. Not only was he facing financial ruin, but his wife also decided to leave him. She was tired of the cheating, money problems, and constant drama in their lives. Unfortunately, this was just the beginning of Wilson's troubles.
There were lots of double dealing, double contracting. You must understand, the acts in those days were teenagers going against corporate people.
In 1964, Wilson was scheduled to perform at Kiel Auditorium in St. Louis. However, he was in trouble with the law for not fulfilling a contract that cost him $2,200. Wilson learned that police were going to arrest him after the concert. Instead of facing them, he made a shocking decision. After leaving the stage, he jumped out of a second-floor window to escape. Even with this daring move, the police still caught him, and he ended up spending a night in jail. At just 17 years old, he found himself in a tough spot. Jackie was forced to marry Frida Hood, the girl he had impregnated. Frida was pregnant, and they welcomed a little girl named Jacqueline Denise into the world. Frida was Jackie's best friend, Dunn Hudson's little sister. Jackie had known Frida since they were kids. When they were about 10 years old, Jackie often stayed over at Dunn's house just to see Frida. He thought she was special and had a crush on her for a long time. At first, Frida didn't feel the same way, but over time she realized she loved Jackie. They started dating, and even though they were still young, their relationship became serious quickly. Frida adored Jackie and wanted to be close to him. To show her love, she joined a girls' group called the Shakers, hoping it would make him happy. But then she got pregnant and everything changed. While it was exciting to have a baby, Frida's parents didn't like Jackie at first. Jackie had a complicated love life. His girlfriend Frida tried to deal with his wild behavior. She loved him and supported him for a long time. But eventually it became too much for her, and she filed for divorce in 1965. Frida finally felt free, while Jackie seemed not to care at all. Just 2 years later, Jackie married the same model he had an affair with. He wanted to fix his image in the public eye. They had a son together, but they separated after 2 years in 1969. Jackie's troubles didn't stop there. He is believed to have fathered many children, including the well-known actor and singer Bobby Brooks Wilson. However, Jackie faced a tragedy that changed everything. In 1970, his 16-year-old son, Jackie Jr., was shot and killed on a neighbor's porch in Detroit. This loss sent Jackie into a deep depression. He withdrew from the public and started using drugs to cope with the pain. Sadly, Jackie's heartache continued. He lost 2 daughters at a young age. His daughter, Sandra, died at 24, possibly from a heart attack. In 1988, his eldest daughter, Jala, lost her life due to a substance-related incident in Highland Park, Michigan. All these losses made Jackie regret many of his choices. Jackie had changed from a wealthy star to a father struggling to care for his children and dealing with huge debt. The stress took a toll on his heart. In 1975, while performing in New Jersey, Jackie collapsed on stage after singing Lonely Teardrops. The audience thought it was part of the show, but when he didn't wake up, they panicked and rushed him to the hospital. Sadly, Jackie didn't recover. He fell into a coma and passed away due to pneumonia complications on January 21, 1984, at the age of 49. He didn't even have enough money for a proper grave. Although Jackie Wilson's life was full of struggles and heartbreak, he left behind a powerful legacy. His talent inspired many superstars like Michael Jackson, Diana Ross, Elvis Presley, and Bobby Wilson. They were deeply affected by his music and style.